Hi, my name is Gloria Davis, and I will be introducing you to my study, Early Secondary Students' View on Science. My area of focus will be students' view on scientists can affect their view on science. Students' classroom environment can affect their view on science. And lastly, students' career choice cannot be affected by experience in the classroom. This study will add to the body of research about the importance of secondary students' experience in their classroom. This study will be useful for teachers because teachers will be able to see what experience in the classroom can motivate and create interest for their students in science. Also, Kern County superintendents will be able to use this study because I attend many KCSOS personal development of science. I take what they teach me, the techniques that they teach me, and I apply them in my classroom with the curriculum that my district gives me. I use the techniques that they give me to the best of my ability that I have learned them. In my study, whatever data I collect and the outcome I get, they will be able to see if their techniques are being useful, and even maybe if I am learning them properly. My research question is, what are the effects of teaching different views of scientists on students' view of choosing a STEM career? Science classes are changing, and you will see this in my literature review, that the next generation science standards, NGSS, was introduced in 2011 to public schools. These standards gave teachers a guide on how to create their curriculum so that students would be interested in science as well as prepared for college and future careers. There is a surplus in many STEM career fields. According to the Bureau of Labor, statistics expect to see a growth of 8% in occupation demand. This is 4.3% higher than other subject careers. With such a high demand, students need to have an interest in these fields. Students' desires and appeal for science starts in the early secondary school and then can lead into post-secondary science interest. In order to create interest, our students need to be motivated, and how we motivate them is to give them a positive attitude towards science. And two ways that we might be able to do this is by giving them hands-on activities as well as after-school activities that have to do with science but are not based out of a book and are more rounded around having fun. Students' interactions with their teachers are very important. Some students will only see science in the classroom. If a teacher has a negative point of view or a negative attitude in the classroom, the students will most likely have a negative experience and relate that to science subject. If teachers are positive and give the students a positive experience in the classroom, they are more likely to be intrigued with science and want more of it because of the positivity. How can we change things in the classroom? What can we do for that? We need to bring other students' interest into it, and that means other subjects. There is a study that was done previously, and a teacher brought art into his science classroom. When he brought art in, he noticed that he had a higher attendance rate, as well as grades were increasing. And this is what led me to choose to collect my data by using a Draw a Scientist test, DAST. This has been used since the 80s, and what you do is you have the students draw what they view a scientist looks like. There are many different types of DAST, and the reason why we choose to use DAST is because we can be able to compare to see if students have a stereotypical view on scientists or if they actually see themselves in science. And if they don't see themselves in science, they are less likely to be interested in it. Because there are so many different types of DAST that I was able to find in research, I chose to go with the EDAST. The EDAST is a little different because instead of drawing one scientist, our students draw three. I tell my students, draw a scientist, and they draw a scientist. Then I tell my students, draw another scientist, and then again. After the third time, I collect their papers. This allows me to see if they have more than one viewpoint. If they like to draw your stereotypical scientist, but they really know that they can be in science. Or if all three are stereotypical, I can be more aware that they really do not see themselves in the science. I will be conducting an action research case study. I will be using my own students of 117, 37 7th graders, and 81 8th graders. I work at a small public charter school in Shafter, California. There are only 5 more males than females. Majority of my students are a minority, and only 5 of my students have IEPs. I will be using the EDAST and a survey to collect data from my students. The analysis of the data, the EDAST will be analyzed using rubrics, and it will help me to compare their first score from their second score. They will draw it at the beginning of my research and 30 days after. I will be able to use these scores to see if the student's view on a scientist has changed at all. Surveys will be analyzed by looking for a change over time. Again, they will take a survey at the beginning and after the 30 days. I will be able to look at their interest from when they first entered my class to 30 days into my class to see if there has been any change or any outcome of them being more intrigued to science. Notes will be taken on what career students are interested in before and after they have had time in my classroom. For ethical consideration, I will keep all of my students' names confidential. No names will be on anything I use in my research. I will be referring to my students as student 1, student 2, etc. Because of the type of study I'm doing, no extra instructors will be brought into my classroom. The students would have me regardless of this research project, which allows them to just feel comfortable during my research and during the testing. Limitations of this study. Students may look at other students' pictures while they are drawing and make changes to theirs based off of what they see. I only am doing 30 days with my students for this research, and that may or may not be enough time to see if their interest or their viewpoint on science is actually changing. Another thing may be extracurricular activities outside of school that I am unaware of. I may look at my data and think it is fully based off of my classroom, but in reality, there may be some students taking classes at a community library that is actually changing their viewpoint, and it may have nothing to do with my classroom. Thank you very much for taking the time to see my study. Have a great day.